Bonne nuit, mon ami. Bien à vous, à la The Wicked Webs We Weave podcast. Je m'appelle Ryan Mckern. And thank you again for joining me for another episode exploring the haunts and history of the Hotel Monteleone in French Quarter of New Orleans, Louisiana. This hotel has a personal place in my heart. I just bloom with the affection whenever I think of this building. It's one of the most gorgeous hotels that you have ever seen. It's old, and they have a carousel bar in their lounge, and it's a lot of fun. It's exactly what you would think with a carousel bar. You sit down, the bar slowly rotates in a circle, 360. You have a cocktail. There's a jazz band playing on the other side of the room. It's just a beautiful ambiance, very decadent, wonderful cocktails and cuisine. I also used to work in the bank on the first floor of the building of the Hotel Monteleone. And that time there was beautiful. I used to ride my bike. Actually, it was in November as well. As I am recording this on a November evening, fond memories of riding my bicycle through the quarter to my work and just interacting with all the business owners in the French Quarter. That was many years ago that I worked at Hotel Monteleone. And just like any other old historic buildings in New Orleans, of course, this place is rich with history and ghostly paranormal activity. So sit back, warm yourself next to the proverbial fire, and let us begin another tale in the wicked webs we weave. Located at the intersection of Royal and Iberville Streets in the French Quarter, the Hotel Monteleone is an imposing structure. A dapper doorman stands shrew and confident at the front entrance, just as others in that position have since the late 19th century. In the large overscale windows to the right of the front doors, twinkling yellow lights catch the eyes of pedestrians as they meander past. Those lights belong to the hotel's carousel bar and lounge, in which the floor of the bar circles and has been rotating since the carousel bar and lounge opened in 1950. The bar's motto is, "We've been spinning for 65 years." We often get asked about a haunted place to stay in New Orleans. And what other could you recommend than the Hotel Monteleone? From other vantage points of the French Quarter, and even while driving on certain parts of the I-10 highway, Hotel Monteleone is recognizable by its illuminated sign on top of the hotel. The hotel's name is emblazoned in a vibrant red for all to see, and was first erected in the early 1900s. I myself have been on the roof on Bourbon Street and Canal in one of the older buildings, and you can see the Hotel Monteleone towering even from the very top floor that I was located. Newer technology, no doubt, could have replaced the trademark sign. According to Kent Wasmuth, the hotel's director of sales and marketing, it is a testament to the hotel's historical value as a property that the illuminated sign has remained untouched for over a century. As Wasmuth says, the sign has remained intact through many storms and bad weather over all the years. To all the hotel guests and even to passerbys, he suggests to check it out on a clear night from a distance, and you will see why I like that beacon in the night skies. And always, the Hotel Monteleone is a landmark of not only past time, but also of hopes and dreams and dedication. But while the Hotel Monteleone exudes luxury and timeless elegance, the Beaux Arts style building and the play of shadows on the architectural facade during the evening hours display a haunting quality to all who wander past, within good reason, of course. A true gem in New Orleans, America's most haunted city, with no denying that the Hotel Monteleone will always be mentioned near top of the list as one of the most haunted hotels in the Crescent City. When the history of Monteleone, America in the late 19th century, was a land of opportunity. The obscenely rich era of the Gilded Age in the early 1900s had not officially kicked in yet, but undoubtedly people from all over the world had their eye on the United States. Tales of unimaginable wealth and of new beginnings had circulated for decades. For some people who arrived in America, good fortune was in their favor. For others, the impending struggle was a much more tangible reality. But guts and dedications triumphed for many, and Sicilian-born Antonio Monteleone was no exception. He'd heard of the promise of America and decided that he too wanted to dip his hand into the pot and try his luck in the land famous for opportunity and personal gain. In 1880, Antonio sold his shoe factory in Sicily and made his way to New Orleans, Louisiana. When he then arrived in the bustling southern city, he purchased a cobbler shop on the ritziest of all streets in New Orleans during that era, the beautiful, and still to this day, magnificent and distinguished Royal Street. Within a few scant years, the taste of more had sunk in for the Sicilian-born Antonio. So, when a 64-room hotel on Royal Street was offered up for sale in 1886, Antonio snagged the opportunity for what it was, prosperity. Not long after, the commercial hotel next door also was placed for sale, and Antonio purchased that building as well. Over the next 30-some years, Antonio Monteleone would expand his burgeoning hotel empire. In 1903, he added 30 guest rooms. In 1908, during the midst of a national financial depression, in 1908, Antonio commissioned the architect Albert Toledano and Victor Wogan to flourish the exterior of the hotel with ornate features, as well as to add 300 more rooms. He changed the hotel's name from the Commercial Hotel to the now famous Hotel Monteleone. One wonders if Antonio dreamt or imagined the wealth he would come into when he left Sicily for an unknown future in New Orleans, Louisiana. Antonio ultimately died in 1913, and his son, Frank Monteleone, inherited the Grand Hotel. Though no one has confirmed that Antonio's ghost still haunts the hotel, we can speculate that it does. With such a passion for the business and the building he started on Royal Street, nearly from scratch, working so hard to build his empire, it seems unlikely Antonio would not want to stick around and ensure things were still going accordingly. After Antonio's death, the hotel passed through to his son, Frank, and then on to his grandson, Bill. It is said that by 1926, the hotel had installed radios and whirling ceiling fans in each of its guest rooms, quite a technological feat so early on. Further additions to the hotel were completed in 1928, 1 year before another heavy economic crisis, in which the Hotel Monteleone was the only establishment of its kind in New Orleans to remain open and functioning throughout the stock market crash. By 1954, however, the beautiful Hotel Monteleone began showing signs of wear and tear. To its beautiful facade, aged no century building to tap the shoulder, as a reminder of marked time despite enormous success. The original building was then demolished to make way for a new foundation and structure that reflected the initial Beaux Arts flair and appeal. More guest suites were built, as well as ballrooms, dining rooms, and 2 cocktail lounges. Bill Monteleone even added more floors, guest rooms, and a sky terrace, which was even equipped with swimming pools. The Hotel Monteleone may be haunted over a century old, but it certainly can never be considered a bland affair. Part 2. Hotel Monteleone, a literary author's slice of heaven. Just as famous for its ghosts, the Hotel Monteleone is also very well known for the number of literary greats who have considered the hotel home during their stays in New Orleans. Authors such as Tennessee Williams, William Faulkner, and Ernest Hemingway were all frequent guests of the hotel and even incorporated elements of the property into their literary works. Hemingway briefly mentioned the Hotel Monteleone in his short story, Night Before the Battle, while Southern writer Faulkner not only stayed at the hotel during his honeymoon, but he also wrote his novel, The Sound and the Fury, during one of his stays. Tennessee Williams, as well, is staying at the hotel when he wrote The Rose Tattoo. The literary giants of the Hotel Monteleone aren't limited to the early 20th century. Even the American novelist Truman Capote couldn't get enough of the Hotel Monteleone. Rumor has it that he used to sit downstairs in the Carousel Bar and Lounge, sip his cocktails at the bar, which is most known for its Sazerac and Ramos Gin Fizz, while informing anyone who would listen to him that he had, in fact, been born in the Hotel Monteleone. However, Capote was not born there, but only because his mother hailed a taxi just as she was about to go into labor. She birthed Truman Capote at Toro Hospital like many other New Orleanians, then and since then. But no doubt, as a storyteller, Capote sought, and to add in a little flavor, a little something extra, a little lagniappe, if you will, to all of his many stories of the bar guests in the hotel. He also decided to relay the story on air while completing a segment and finishing on The Tonight Show. The literary greats of the Hotel Monteleone did not end with Truman Capote. Since then, witch and vampire authoress Anne Rice has stayed at the hotel, as well as Stephen Ambrose and John Grisham in 1998. The Friends of Library Association decided to make the Hotel Monteleone a literary landmark, making it one of only 3 hotels in the United States to hold such a title. Antoine Monteleone clearly knew that he was doing when he first purchased the unknown 64-room hotel back in 1880. And this hotel stands as a true piece of not only Louisiana, but American history. Little did Antonio Monteleone know that his beloved hotel, famous for its beauty, high-class style, and literary guest, would also become known for its apparitions and paranormal activity. The Ghost of the Hotel Monteleone, Part 3. For generations, near on a century, guests of the Hotel Monteleone have reported spotting ghosts or experiencing strange things during their stay at the hotel. And it's no wonder. The hotel is over 100 years old, and with 600 guest rooms, the number of people coming in and going is tremendously high. It would be even stranger if a hotel that old didn't have any ghost still lingering around. As I would like to say personally, being inside the Hotel Monteleone and its beauty and awe, you never want to leave, so why wouldn't the ghost want to leave? You don't want to move on to the afterlife when the party is so rich and decadent right in front of you. According to employees of the hotel, none of the ghosts who still inhabit the property are aggressive or angry. Having spoken at length with paranormal investigators who have completed overnight stays at the hotel, Kent Westmuth feels secure in the fact that any ghosts still residing at the hotel are friendly in nature. Thankfully, he adds, there are not many aggressive or mysterious happenings that would want to cause any harm, which is sort of a nice change of pace in a world where people staying in haunted buildings are sometimes pushed downstairs or experiencing other aggressive energy directed towards them. Friendly, welcoming spirits seem at home and custom in New Orleans. In the Big Easy, a place known for its charm, southern gentlemen's and mademoiselles, offering a slice of European flair to the south of the country. Fortunately, the ghosts of the Hotel Monteleone are more likely to greet you and incorporate a hug more than anything else. In 2003, the International Society of Paranormal Research ventured into the Hotel Monteleone for an overnight investigation. They had previously heard of the hotel's paranormal acclaim, and Dr. Larry Montz, the lead paranormal investigator, was interested in discovering just how haunted the Hotel Monteleone was in reality. The results concluded that it was indeed very haunted. Montz and his other investigators unearthed over a dozen entities during their stay. Some spirits they discovered were previous employees of the hotel. Men like Williams Red Wildemere, who died of natural causes within the hotel, had never left. Downstairs in the lobby, the restaurant door was always reported by guests and employees alike of opening and shutting on its own volition. The investigators realized quickly that the door accurately remained locked, and it was operated by a push button off to the side, without AC blowing, and without someone actually pressing the button to release the catch. The restaurant door ought to have remained shut. Ought to being the key words. It appears some employees still want to tend to the beloved hotel they worked for. The investigators also used various ghost equipment and were able to uncover that the moving door was on account of two ghosts of previous employees, one who had been a chef and the other who had been a busboy or perhaps waiter. Apparently, one of the spirits prefers to have the doors open, which results in the ongoing paranormal feud of door open, door shut policies. But Montz and his investigators were more concerned with the ghost of a little boy named Maurice Bergier, who still likes to play pranks on the 14th floor. In the late 1800s, it seems that Maurice's parents, Josephine and Jacques, were frequent guests of the Hotel Monteleone. They were even more frequent guests of the French Opera House on Bourbon Street. But the opera was certainly no place for 3-year-old Maurice, and so he was routinely left at the hotel with a nanny, as his parents went to enjoy the nightlife of the French Quarter. One night, when his parents were out, Maurice fell gravely ill. His temperature spiked, his little body convulsing with sickness. Though his nanny tried to tend to him as much as she could, the fever was much too high, and Maurice passed that night. When the Bergiers returned from the opera house, they were horrified to find that their son was dead. Josephine was so distraught that she demanded her husband bring her back to the Hotel Monteleone every year so that she could hopefully come in contact with her son. Some years later, she apparently did. The ghost of Maurice appeared to her in the dead of night. Tears stained Josephine's cheeks as she allegedly gripped her son's apparition in a tight embrace. Leaning back, Maurice's spirit assured her, "Mommy, don't cry. I'm fine." Maurice's spirit continues to wander the hotel on the 14th floor, where he has passed on. Numerous guests on that particular floor have reported waking up in the dead of night only to hear childlike laughter and then see the apparition of a toddler passing them as though playing or perhaps seeking his now long passed on parents. Rest in peace to Maurice and the family. Maurice has not been the only sighting on the 14th floor of apparitions in the Hotel Monteleone. It is said that one night a couple entered the elevator on the lobby of the hotel. They pressed the number for their appropriate floor and found themselves in a tight embrace. They were too otherwise preoccupied that they didn't realize the elevator had stopped on the wrong floor, the 14th floor. The door pinged open, and the couple stepped out, eager to head back to their hotel suite. But the moment that the elevator door closed behind them, the air around them grew cold, the skin on their arms prickling as an inkling of awareness edged out to the passion. Holding hands, they slowly made their way down the hallway. With each foot planted on the ground, the already cool air grew that much colder, and a chill shuddered down their spines. They rounded the bend in the corridor and nearly released a scream at the ghostly scene before them. Although the couple hightailed it back to the elevator with record speed, what they saw was imprinted in their memory. Apparitions of children playing in the middle of the hall. Children who were not wearing present-day clothing, but clothing of a bygone era. Of childlike giggles, then one by one, each child's apparition stopped to stare at the couple before vanishing from sight. Who these ghostly children might have been in a previous era is a mystery. Various other paranormal investigators over the years have come in contact with a 10-year-old boy who also likes to frequently visit the 14th floor. Though the spirit informed the investigators through EVP sessions that he died at a later age, he apparently likes to return to the Hotel Monteleone as a young boy so he can play with the other spirits of children who remain at the hotel. Of course, in reality, and like most hotels, the hotel 14th floor of the Hotel Monteleone is not really the 14th floor, but instead the 13th. Though nowhere does it say 13th. In many hotels they will do this due to superstition and not to alarm guests, as it were, that the guest will sometimes request to be moved to another room, knowing that they got a room on the 13th floor. The next time you're in the elevators of a hotel, check the elevator buttons from the time that it goes from 12 up, and you may notice this yourself. Hotel architects in the property were so superstitious of the Hotel Monteleone that it was best not to have the 13th floor labeled. Due to its links with superstition, many building owners opted to avoid having the 13th floor and avoiding the bad karma of omens I previously mentioned. Otis Elevators even released a survey claiming that approximately 85% of buildings that contain their elevators do not have a 13th floor. Hence why the 14th floor gets so many activity. Is it due to the 13th floor indeed? Speculation. We can allow you to make your conclusions on your own. Perhaps just a strange coincidence. But the 14th floor is allegedly the most haunted in the building. Aside from the couple who experienced the apparitions of the children, a family staying on the 15th floor always choose to use the elevator during their stay. But creepily enough, no matter if they were riding up or down, the elevator always stopped on the 14th floor. The two daughters, both of whom were under the age of 7, were understandably frightened and told their mother that they wanted to take the stairs instead. The mother decided to conduct her own paranormal investigation, leaving her daughters in their hotel room. She then rode the elevator alone, twice. The elevator did not stop on the 14th floor, and she figured it was just a mishap. She assured her young girls that there was nothing to be worried about. I rode it myself, she said, confidently. But when the three took the elevator down to the lobby, then it again stopped on the 14th floor. Needless to say, the young girls probably never wanted to ride that elevator again. But as to why the elevator itself seems to be haunted, it seems less likely that the elevator itself could be haunted, and more that the ghosts on the 14th floor are manipulating the suit to their own desires, and they like guests to interact with. Today, whether you come to stay the night at the Hotel Monteleone because of the ghosts or hauntings, or because it is such a part of New Orleans history, and one of the only surviving family-owned hotels in the country, There's no doubt that the Hotel Monteleone offers some of the best hotel experiences in the French Quarter. Just recently, the hotel was nominated by the City Business magazine as one of the best places to work award. As Kent Westmuth, the Hotel Monteleone's Director of Sales and Marketing, explains, the hotel stands apart, not only because of the historic value within New Orleans, but also because of the longevity and experience of its staff. We at the Hotel Monteleone have 404 full-time employees, and the tenure along with the total years of service to the hotel represents 2,657 years, he says. Realizing that the extent of the staff's experience would place us in a time of pharaohs in ancient Egypt, staying the night at the Hotel Monteleone is synonymous with meeting and talking with some of the best staff the hospitality industry has to offer. For rooftop views of New Orleans skyline, spas, Carousel Cocktail Lounge, and the beautiful Royal Street, minutes away from many restaurants, bars, and other attractions, look no further than to stay at the Hotel Monteleone. The hotel is pet-friendly, among many, many other amenities in French Quarter New Orleans life. I would like to thank NolaGhost.com, GhostAdvisor.com in the making of this episode, as well as the Hotel Monteleone's YouTube page. Once again, I am Ryan Mckern, and until we see each other again, au revoir.